Hi everybody! Today I wanted to let you know that I have decided to stop punishing my kids. Yeah, you heard that right, but only because I feel like I have found a different way and I think it works even better. As I mentioned, I have decided to work my best efforts at abandoning punishment in favor of discipline. Discipline and punishment, I feel like, are often used interchangeably these days, especially in parenting and the way we talk about parenting our children. And I think that there are some key differences, and I wanted to talk to you about those key differences that I see, at least. And I also wanted to show you an example of what it looks like around here with discipline versus punishment for our very amazing and full of gusto 5-year-old. So the example is, how are we going to handle her basically not listening with what does it look like in punishment and what does it look like using discipline? Hey, I have told you 5 times to clean your room. What's wrong? Why are you not cleaning your room? Why are you not listening? Because you're not listening, no movie for the rest of the week. Nothing, not at all. Sweetie, I've asked you to clean your room now a few times and you're not getting it cleaned. You have been doing a really, really great job about keeping your room clean, especially when I've asked you to do it, and I'm really proud of you for that. But up until, just recently, today, in the last few days, you haven't been listening very well. And honey, you're my little princess, and princesses don't live in junky, dirty rooms. So unfortunately, as a consequence, because you haven't been doing as Mommy has asked, we are going to put away some of your toys in the garage until you have a little bit of time to think about what it looks like to get your room cleaned and to respect what Mommy says and your toys. Let's talk a little bit about the differences between discipline and punishment. And I'll admit, it's actually taken kind of a mind shift for me because I, like probably many of you, have used it interchangeably until I stepped back and started looking at this. So let's talk about some of the differences, examples of the differences between the two. When I punish my child, I'm looking at the past. When I discipline my child, I am actually looking towards the future and how it is that I can prevent this from happening again by helping her understand. When I decide to punish, I am settling a wrong. But when I decide to use discipline, I am hopefully preventing the wrongs from settling in the first place. This next one is a really big one for me. When I punish, I'm parenting out of fear, in hopes that my anger, or by me yelling, or by me being really stern and serious, that is going to basically create enough fear in my kid that they're going to be like, oh. So it's going to scare them into good behavior, which I think, as most of you know, I don't think that's really possible. I mean, you might be able to for the moment, but what's that teaching them? So when I use discipline, it's actually more of a position of my heart, and it's love, and I'm loving them into good behavior versus scaring them into good behavior. My attitude when I punish is often going to be anger or frustration. I've got the steam coming out my ears. She's not listening. I've asked her to do this I don't know how many times, and she's not listening. So it's often going to be anger or frustration, because I don't know about you, but when I tell my kid to do something and she doesn't do it, the first time it's like, okay, second time, third time, by that third time I'm like, Whereas with discipline, my attitude towards my child is going to be love, and it's going to be thinking about her future and about moving forward from this point. I feel like the cost of punishment in children can be fear and guilt. And I don't know about you, but those are not two things that I want to be responsible for putting in my kid. But my feelings on discipline is going to be the payoff in the sense of security for my kid, because if I'm not parenting her with anger and fear, but instead I'm coming to her with love, she's going to feel a whole lot more secure. Lastly, I feel like one of the biggest differences with punishment and discipline is it's really a matter of what your heart looks like. My heart attitude when I discipline is that I have a really good kid who sometimes makes really bad decisions, and I'm going to help her correct that and help her learn from that for the future good. As often as I can, I definitely want to get to the root of what is causing bad behavior, because if I can understand the root, it's going to help me figure out how I want to deal with the whole situation, because I feel like a lot of times we have good kids. It's not that she's trying to be a little turd, it's just that there's something very simple that if I can address that root issue, it's probably going to help in the grand scheme of things. So I'm always going to try to find the root of what this bad behavior is all about, because at least in the case of my daughter, it's rarely malicious, and so I want to try to understand that better. Another thing that I really want to do, and that I'm working at doing, is I want to encourage my children when they make good choices, and I want to praise them as often as I can. My goal is that I praise my daughter more often than I'm correcting her, because I want, when I do correct her, I want her to listen. I want it to be like, oh, okay. When I was back in part of the working world, I had a boss who was absolutely amazing. And one of the things that she did is when there was a criticism, she sandwiched it in between two positives. So I've got a positive, the criticism, and a positive. And I'll tell you, it did wonders as far as how I was going to react and whether I was going to beat myself up later or not. Because if I wasn't doing a good job at something, I'm thinking, I've been horrible, I'm not doing a good job, I can't pull my weight. But if she gave me something on either side, two little bits of gold, it's like, okay, I'm going to work on this middle piece, but I'm feeling good because I know she values A and Z. And I think the same can be true with kids. If we're going to discipline, let's make sure that also the things that they're hearing outside of that are good things, are praise and encouragement, calling out the gold in our kids. My goal when talking to my kids is I always want to be kind. I want to be firm, and I'm definitely not trying to be a pushover, but my goal is going to be and is to wrap my discipline with kindness, because first and foremost, I want to be a good role model. When they go out into the world, I would like them to be kind to people. When my daughters make mistakes, which, when you have a 5-year-old, it happens, but hey, I'm a mom and it happens all the time. So when my kids make mistakes, I want to use those opportunities to teach them. I want there to be a lesson learned if possible. I don't always get that right, and I miss an opportunity to show them something. So it's definitely not something I've perfected, probably won't ever. I need to talk also about consistency. I know that sometimes it's easy, because I've done it. I know that sometimes it's easy to not be super consistent with discipline, especially if you're trying to cook dinner and you've got the baby hanging on you and getting into cupboards or whatever, and you're just flustered and you're not able to focus. It's easy to kind of let it slide off or let them get away with things that they shouldn't be getting away with because you've got other stuff on your plate. But consistency is so important. Kids are opportunistic. They're smart, and if they see, oh, okay, so wait a minute here. This is if mom is really busy, or if she's got this going on, I could probably get away with this. Not because they're bad kids, just because they're opportunistic. So consistency is key. My kid is smart. If there's a reaction and it's the same thing every single time, except for when mom's cooking dinner, well, guess what my kid's gonna do when I'm cooking dinner? She's gonna run amok and be crazy. So I have to be consistent, and it takes effort on my part, but it's better in the long run because then I don't lose my brain and freak out on my kid. Lastly, I want to talk about bad behavior that is happening over and over and over. There's a reason for it, whether it's a certain circumstance, or there's something in our routine at home, like the home routine, or there's something at school. Like if there's something that's consistently happening over and over again, I want to stop and try to figure out, again, like I mentioned earlier, get back to the root of the problem. When I see this bad behavior happening over and over again, it's going to be my goal to figure out what's happening and attack it, because that's just nip it right there. As a disclaimer, I need to let you know, obviously, I am not an expert and I don't always get this right. In fact, I don't get it right a lot of the time. However, I have identified a goal and that's what I'm chasing after. sometimes in the heart of the moment, I am dishing out punishment left and right. And I don't want to do that, but sometimes it happens. But as we've talked about throughout this video, discipline is in my heart for my daughters, not punishment. Sometimes it's easy to punish ourselves as adults for things that we've done in our life or for bad choices or things in the past. But I would encourage you, don't. That can be just as detrimental to your emotional health as it can be for a kid. So just don't. I would definitely encourage you, don't punish yourself. Love yourself. I definitely feel like there's room in our lives for self-discipline. And again, as we've talked about, discipline and punishment are different, and that applies to an adult life too. So I would encourage you, don't punish yourself. Don't beat yourself up. It's a waste of brain power. Okay, that's it. That is our video on punishment and discipline. I hope that you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope that it helps you kind of identify what kind of parenting techniques you want to use and maybe how you can roll some of this into your own life with your own kids. Hopefully it's helpful for you. It's, like I said, it's definitely not something that I get right every day, but it's something that I'm actively working towards. So if you like our video, please click like. We would love for you to join us as a subscriber if you're interested. That way you'll get notifications when we put out new videos. We do new videos once a week, and we've got over 65 videos just about parenting and kids and budgeting and meal planning and discipline versus punishment, how to deal with your kids when they're driving you crazy. So we would love for you to be a subscriber. We have a Facebook page if you want to check us out there. We also have a blog, which is familylifeandlove.org. Our Facebook page is the KT Files. So we would love to have you join us on one of those mediums. And yeah, I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. And thank you so much for your time and for watching our video. And we'll see you next time. Bye.